Welcome to Deep Thought. Work to get the whole story before making a judgment. And, that statement, in a way, is based on a statement made by the philosopher Sun Tzu in his legendary book, his monumental book, The Art of War. It was a basic statement, and I've always lived by it for decades. If you know yourself and you know your enemy, you need not fear the results of 100 battles. And it's basically saying, in general, you could apply it to war, of course, but it's basically saying, know everything about that person. And I would amend it to say, know everything about something before you come to a definitive judgment. Work to get the whole story. A lot of times, unfortunately, we live in a world where people make a judgment basically off of what they see immediately right there. They're like a lot of people do that on YouTube. I've noticed a lot of times people make a judgment off of somebody and they've watched like maybe one video. I've seen this with many content creators. I've seen this with myself. They watch one video and not even the whole video. They make a judgment, or they see a title, say, I ain't going to look at that. The judge will say, did you watch the video? Like, no. I was like, well, at least watch the whole video first, right? And other people, I've seen comments, other people saying it, right? But you need to know the whole story. Let me use that YouTube example. This is something that happened with me. I remember somebody didn't like something I said in a video. They said, well, you ain't talking about this or that. But then they actually apologized later. They actually apologized in the same comment. They edited the comment. They left the original thing, said, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't listen to the whole video. And I respect it, and I respect that they can acknowledge their own mistake. I say at least listen to the whole thing. Now, if you don't like it, then that's cool. And then if you're going to make a judgment about a person, and this go way beyond YouTube. I just use that because, we hear and we see it right away. But before you make a judgment about a person, stay cool and calm. One of the things I don't do when somebody, I've had plenty of times, there's been so many times I've been on two sides of a story. I've been on two sides. And I've heard somebody tell me one thing about this person, but then I hear about it from the other side. In fact, that was just something recent. That was recent. I ain't going to get into what it was. Like I said, I got a life outside of YouTube. Y'all be surprised. I got a whole other life outside of YouTube. I make money and stuff from what I do online, but there's people on the outside have no idea what I actually do. So, one of those things. I got a whole set of associates and everything that have nothing to do with like what I do online. And it was two women, and there was an issue. I can't get into the issue publicly because there's actually a legal thing with it too. But I'm hearing from one side, I was told one thing, but then I see the other side, I was told another. And see, one of the things with that, knowing the whole story, understand, like when you talk about truth is a three-edged sword. My side, your side, and actual truth. Because whenever we look at something just from one angle, we're going to get a bias. When you tell somebody something, no matter how objective you try to be, you're going to have a certain bias. I don't care who you are. That's myself included. I would tell anybody, if I tell you anything or talk about something, I'm giving you my perspective. And I've told people, I said, look, don't just take my word for it. Go look at the whole picture because you might see something I don't see. And that's something I always try to do because, like I said, I've been in several situations. I be in the middle of stuff and I see it from both sides. Indeed, there have been times I've been able to mediate some stuff because I saw it from both sides. And, and it just I developed that habit of just trying to find out the whole story. Okay, somebody behave a certain way. Let me find out why. Let me find out why. I'm just seeing a result of something, but where did it come from? Why are they doing this? I remember there was a young lady I had met. It's like actually one of the few women I met on the street. And when we first went out, it was like so-so. But then there was a time we actually got to sit down and really talk. It was actually at my place, too. We hadn't to be how deep it was. We didn't even kiss or have sex, but we were just talking. And she gave me a perspective on why she did things the way she did, how she saw it. I was like, oh, wow. And like I said, nothing happened, but it was a real respect. And in all honesty, that might be better than sex sometimes. It was a real respect between us. And, got to be friends and stuff. Of course, over the years, just lost contact gradually. But it's gradual, not no sudden thing. But seeing the whole story, I looked at her differently. But then she saw my whole story and saw, oh, wait a minute, Rom's more understanding. So she looked at me differently. And she even told me she had a certain judgment about she judged what she thought my reaction would be at first. But then when she saw that wasn't the case, she was like, oh, okay. This is cool. I think I could look her up. I got to look in the old phone book. But I learned, that's another time I learned something. Like, try to find out as best as possible. Because, let's just be real. It can be hard to find out everything. But sometimes maybe if if you're in a situation with somebody and you know somebody on the other side or somebody that know them, sometimes just ask them what's up. Just what's up. Just say, hey, and make a promise to keep whatever said in private. Now, if they're a good friend to that person, they ain't going to tell you everything, but they can tell you enough, And any situation, try to see both sides. Try to look at it. Try to understand. Try to see two sides of the coin. Don't just automatically take one side. Try to see the big picture. And trust me, you're going to have to keep your heart stable. Keep those emotions under control. Because you can miss out on a whole lot. Because then when you see the big picture of anything, and this is even more than making a judgment, you see the big picture, you get an understanding, then you can make an informed choice as to your reaction to it. You can make an informed choice because you see everything, and then you can sit back and say, oh, okay, this going on. Okay, this is what we need to talk about. This is what we need to deal with. Very important. Very important. And making a judgment. I'm going to tell you the truth. At some point, we're going to make a judgment. But do it kind of like a judge would in a court of law. A judge in a court of law listens to both sides. It allows them to make their arguments and then makes a decision. Try to do that. Just try to do that. Don't immediately take in all the information, no matter how negative. But don't let your emotion get to you. Just say, okay. Let me see. Because sometimes somebody might be saying, like I said, I don't care who you are. You're going to have a certain amount of bias in what you say. I say even myself, I don't care who you are. If you got emotion, you're a human being. You're still only going to see it from your perspective. And that's all you can. But, nothing wrong with that. But then try to get someone else's perspective. It could affect yours. It can make yours stronger. But at least try to see both sides of the story. And when you're dealing with a person, try to see everything about them before you make a judgment as to who they are. Try to see the big picture. And indeed, even keep taking consideration who you're getting information from and their character to the best extent you know. You might have to get and see the whole story about somebody telling you something. And it's tough. It's tough. I wish it was easier, but it's tough. But, there's many people who've lost out on opportunities, friendships, even relationships, because they might have heard one side of a story instead of seeing the big picture. All right. So anyway, I want y'all to think about that and have a great weekend. Peace and blessings.